Good day, everyone. I'm Ivy, and today I'll be presenting deforestation and land use change, integrating forest ecosystems and biodiversity for sustainable development in the Philippines, with a case focused on the Sierra Madre. According to the FAO's Global Forest Resources Assessment, deforestation is defined as the conversion of forest to other land use, whether human-induced or not. In this context, land use change refers to the transformation over time of how land is allocated and managed, the arrangements, activities, and inputs people apply to a particular land cover type to produce, modify, or maintain it. Thus, deforestation is one specific form of land use change where forest areas are converted to other purposes such as agriculture, settlements, or mining. Why ecosystems matter? Ecosystems, like forests, are the foundation of life, our natural infrastructure. They regulate water, absorb carbon, and stabilize the climate. However, the Philippines has lost nearly two-thirds of its forest cover in just a century, from 70% in the early 1900s to only 24% today. Between 2001 and 2024, the country lost 1.52 million hectares of tree cover, releasing 928 million tons of carbon dioxide. The Sierra Madre now holds about 40% of what's left, roughly 1.4 million hectares. Most of this forest loss is human-driven. Around 62% of tree cover loss comes from permanent deforestation, mainly from the following: agricultural expansion converting over 900,000 hectares into croplands and plantations, urban and infrastructure development, such as roads, settlements, and dams, and industrial extraction, including mining and logging. Mining and industrial projects also clear vast tracts of forest, threatening habitats and watersheds. And despite strict laws, illegal logging persists, feeding the country's demand for timber while preventing forest recovery. Together, these drivers paint a picture of rapid and unsustainable land transformation. Other countries show that reversing deforestation is possible. Costa Rica's payment for ecosystem services, or PES, doubled forest cover by paying landowners to conserve forests. Nepal's community forestry program empowered over 22,000 local groups to manage forests sustainably. In Vietnam, it restored over 50,000 hectares through integrated watershed management, while in Indonesia, its forest investment program reduced illegal logging via green finance and community participation. These models prove that when policies, communities, and financing align, forests can recover. Now let's spotlight on the Sierra Madre. Stretching from Cagayan in the north to Quezon in the south, the Sierra Madre is known as the backbone of Luzon. It harbors unique species such as the Philippine eagle and Rafflesia leonardi. Now let's watch this video about the Sierra Madre from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. To protect Sierra Madre, we must act together by supporting reforestation, opposing destructive projects, empowering local communities, and joining campaigns that raise awareness and restore this vital natural barrier. So these are the national and local efforts so far. The National Greening Program, or NGP, has reforested over 2 million hectares since 2011, including upland areas of Sierra Madre. The National Integrated Protected Areas System, or NEPA, safeguards 247 protected areas, including the Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park. Forest Land Use Plans, or FLUP, help local governments regulate forest utilization and clarify tenure rights. Community-based forest management, or CBFM, empowers nearly 2,000 people's organizations to protect forests and promote sustainable livelihoods. The Sierra Madre now serves as the core corridor of the zone's ecological connectivity initiative, linking fragmented habitats and enabling species to adapt to a changing climate. Local governments are integrating hazard maps and forest buffer zones into their land use plans to balance development with watershed protection. Meanwhile, the Mines and Geosciences Bureau has strengthened monitoring and suspended permits that encroach on protected forest areas. Together, these efforts align development and conservation, ensuring the Sierra Madre remains ecologically resilient and socially sustainable. The Sierra Madre mountain range is more than just a forested landscape. It is home to vibrant indigenous communities who have lived in harmony with nature for generations. Among them are the Kankanae, Agta, Dumagat, Bugkalot, Ifugao, and Kalanguya people, over 10 million individuals spread across provinces from Cagayan to Quezon. But today, their ancestral lands face growing threats. Small-scale logging, poorly planned road projects, agricultural expansion, and mining are pushing both the forests and their communities to the edge. As part of the solution, programs like community-based forest management and indigenous stewardship initiatives provide livelihood alternatives from agroforestry and ecotourism to forest-based enterprises, reducing the need for destructive practices like kaingin. True forest protection must recognize indigenous rights and leadership, ensuring they remain the frontliners of conservation. As you can see in one of the photos, the indigenous groups like the Dumagat Remontado Youth it lead mountain restoration and tree planting in ancestral lands. Moving forward in integrating land use and biodiversity, we need to secure the future of our forests. We must integrate biodiversity corridors into national land use planning, connecting fragmented habitats across Luzon. Collaboration between the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, and local government units and local communities should align conservation with livelihood opportunities. Expanding community-based reforestation, promoting green financing, and institutionalizing payments for ecosystem services can sustain both forests and people. By embedding ecosystems in planning and policy, we shift from reactive conservation to proactive, sustainable land management. The Sierra Madre stands as the Philippines' final forest stronghold, a living barrier that shields us from storms, sustains our rivers, and shelters communities and wildlife. But its survival depends on our collective will. Every tree planted, every policy enforced, and every community empowered brings us closer to ecological balance. Let us ensure that our forests remain standing, not just on paper, but on the ground, for generations to come. Thank you.